Whenever I get through all three editions, I always do see how they all interlink. So, very interesting times, especially that we're moving into the eclipse portal. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm Yildiz from Yildiz Readings 5D, a psychic medium, clairvoyant, and intuitive astrologer. And yes, we do cover the twin flame path here. New content will be coming soon. And if you do want to sign up to our network, which is our Sage in a Circle network, it's our exclusive subscription. You can find that via all the links directly below and within Yildiz Readings 5D website. Now we're going to get straight into this read. And already I do feel ever so frustrated reading this. And it is because when we do see, we always say zebras don't change their stripes. And this is a portal where we can, and even for karmics, and there is going to be this pressure point to conform. We do have this need to change in the way we are dealing with circumstance, and especially because we are reaching that Cinderella and the pumpkin's turning back to the pumpkin at the strike of 12. We do have this pressure point building to the end of this month where we are moving into that Pisces eclipse, and especially with the Leo. I do see this individual here almost climbing down a rabbit hole. And the question I was really asking myself in viewing this read was, it, especially because of that eclipse, it just feels permanent. It's like this person does have an ability to shift hair. It's going to be really their choice. But I do feel they're going in with Angel's Fetch Tread, and we're going to look at the reasons why. Now, sitting on the throne and being authentic and being correct for yourself, we are effectively attempting to be the manager of our own lives here, collectively. Especially because we had Aries and Chiron, and we see this person here, this leadership energy. Okay, the crowning energy, and we see the crow coming down, and they're going a particular direction and maybe feeling ill-experienced, and it's almost like they've landed in hell, very dark, right? Bit of light there. They're flashing a torch in the darkness. It's like sitting in. It feels crazy. Let me put it that way. It feels a little bit crazy. It feels a bit. This is my comfort zone. So be a leader, show others how it's done. You can help others. Now, we always say the airplane's going down. We want to be able to work together with people, right? The big question in the portal we're birthing into at the moment is, first, who the heck are we? And then, in the most authentic way, how can we show up and work with others? But first, we must know thyself in the most raw, organic way, with the mask being peeled off. Also, simultaneously attempting to protect yourself, but being authentic. Now, this person does feel out of their depth. There's been patterns and habits and codependency, which is hard because when you're trying to be a leader of your life and you're codependent, you are ill-experienced in that department because you have lived a life of avoidance in particular areas. And sometimes it can be just one subtle area, a comfort zone, and then suddenly it needs addressing. And yes, naturally, when we do have to address that, we're going to feel extremely uncomfortable. I don't think this is in one given area. And so this person does feel like they're in the nut house. They do feel like they're trying to get out of it, and it's such a mess, and they're thinking, how the heck am I going to do this? Now, the dream versus reality is a very different thing. We may have cockiness and ego associated to it, because if there is codependence and we're not doing the thing, we may project, we may have opinions and spread them out there. But unless we've walked a mile in the person's shoes that are doing it, we actually do not know. So this person has been basing a lot of the judgment, a lot of the comments, and it's been, a light has been shone, and they're feeling quite in the dark because they're out of their depth with it, and they're like, oh, what I thought and what is very different. And so the chickens are coming home to roost. I've been saying this a lot, so I swear Bird's going to be up in the media, especially with the eclipse and Pisces. But we see this person almost like in a figment of their imagination. They're like, I can do this, I can do that, that's fine. And we get the crowning energy and we're like, okay, maybe I was out of my depth there. Maybe I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Okay, things are actually looking a lot different to what they thought. And although they are holding on to that lifeline, that last life, they're actually, it's a bit of the devil you know than the devil you know. They're wanting to go back to an old way. Now, doing something that one is not comfortable with does not mean you should be afraid. But if you are afraid, what is the risk? You go back to your old patterns and habits, which is why I really saw this reading of going back down the rabbit hole to stay. If this person cannot move beyond the wound of codependency and the self-belief of not projecting or not using other people for what they need, they may live there permanently. It is a lonely place to be. You look at this person, abandonment, because people around them, where did we get our bitterness from? Fairy tales. Fairy tales generally had tragic situations happen, but there was always a bloody happy ending. But usually there was a transformation in that happy ending. You get what I'm saying. Okay, so we can form bitter. Now, this person has been living in this belief system, and we all have our own world. Let me be perfectly honest. This is no shade on an individual as per se. It is, we almost could look to the likes of psychology to understand the reasons why. I remember coaching individuals and they were trying to get in the mind of sometimes very toxic minds. So you weren't meant to totally understand the way they operate. That would mean you were on parallel with those individuals. You can be observational. You could look at them and go, oh, that's why they do that. But ultimately speaking, sometimes it is not going to make sense. How I could simplify the sense of this circumstance is when you have had a wound, instead of addressing it, 9 times out of 10, we tend to band-aid that, which is where codependency can crop up in situations. It's like, in order for me not to feel that, I'm going to create this little solution over here. And that way I will just avoid it at all costs so I don't have to deal with it. But what happens is it creates disabilities in various areas of life. We don't get the resilience, we don't get the backbone, we don't get the courage and conviction, and we get to live a very limited life because we are living inside a fear-based frequency. Over being the full card in tarot and actually going, you know what, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I need to, see if this works and see if I can grow and try different things. It could be like avoiding food. I'll only eat this type of food. And then you go somewhere and there's not that food and then you're not eating. It limits you. So this person has lived quite a limited life, even though, observers might feel this person has so much going for them. How the hell do they manipulate this through? Well, let's look at the foundation. It's always tea time. They're always having to concoct different plans and different methods. And guess what? It's boring. It's repetitive. It's circular. It's habits and patterns. And they're being called to at this point in time to cut the shit. To cut it. Right? It's affecting them. They're not happy here. They're not happy in this little dungeon playing facades. But if they cannot grapple with this fear-based frequency of, I've got to be a leader here. I'm going to have to be the full card in tarot. If I don't do this, I'm digging a hole for myself. I'm literally living in this place. I'm wondering what it would be like to go and live life, go and challenge my fears, go and be the individual and have somebody maybe even pick me over me picking them. Is it real? Is it possible? Can I achieve that? They're going to have this opportunity this month. And I don't think it's just this week. What they're moving into is a pressure point. a pressure point of reality, a pressure point of change, a pressure point of the connections and the BS they've been living, in their opinion, right? This isn't judgment here. This is what they're experiencing and how they're feeling about the circumstance. Things never stay the same, but sometimes we get stuck in a wormhole. Now, the nonsense is, it is time to talk sense. What do I want? Where do I feel I need to go? Being honest and authentic, not listening to the little birdie on your shoulder. The problem is, in their mind, we have the outcome card. They felt that they have wasted a lot of time. They felt they've run out of time. So now, could this be an excuse to not address things and to go back to it? They have to decide in their mind whether living the same way or living and wondering forever and a day, if they actually could be more than they are. They've got that question here now. And that's going to be the deciding factor of how this comes about. I do think, however, they are running out of time. Because this card here, use your time wisely, they're running out of time, okay? So be it they're going to choose to and they're going to get stuck in a box and respond in that fashion, or have to take the very long road to dig themselves out. Something is changing here, be it they want it or not. Now, it's up to them whether they show up and look at this as an opportunity or look at it as, well, I've run out of time now, so I'm just going to go back to my old patterns and I'm going to go down that rabbit hole again and stay there to live. Now, we are going to check in with these again next week. I'd love to hear how this relates to your circumstance. If you have any inside information, we'd love to hear it. We have the masculine, feminine, and karmic third-party videos out now, and they are pre-released via our Sage Inner Circle membership. If you do want to see these ad-free, you can sign up via the website. And we do have exclusive content that is actually issued to the membership. Otherwise, I will see you next week for the next edition. Take